Of course, I have to talk about this big and major Bitcoin move that's imminent. And here, this lays it all together. If you look at the Fed, the ECB, and Bank of Japan, the blue line is their liquidity. And you can see when their liquidity goes up, what happens with Bitcoin? It goes up too. So if we start seeing a liquidity injection once again from all major banks, guess what that's going to happen? It's going to drive things higher, right? That's why a major move, right, could be imminent. Now, I say short term because we know long term what the consequences are, and they're not good. Long term, more liquidity injection means more inflation. That means tackling inflation is going to be harder. But many countries, they're weighing their options. They think that injecting liquidity is more important now than reducing inflation, right? Like Bank of Japan just have absolutely no care for inflation right now. They don't care how high inflation goes. They just want to spur up their economy right now. And the same thing with China. They want to kickstart things, right? And increase production. They don't care really about inflation. So if we see all these banks join together and start injecting massive liquidity and buying assets once again, well, that is going to be fantastic. Short term and long term, it's going to be fantastic for Bitcoin because this is the very reason why so many have turned to Bitcoin, because they don't want this to happen. They don't want to see the silent tax of ours increase, buying power of our money decrease over time. Inflation does that. So long term, this is going to help Bitcoin and strengthen its cause, really, because people don't want to see the Fed and central banks go out of control and damage fiats around the world, right? And this is the reason why it's good and it's bad. No, I would say this is the reason why it's good and it's good. If the central banks screw up more and we get more massive liquidity injections, that's great for the market. And long term, it's going to be great for Bitcoin because it just turns more people to Bitcoin. That's simply it, right? And as for Bitcoin, it has jumped up a little bit more than yesterday, right? Overall, crypto market cap have started coming up, right? And here's the thing. Companies are so bullish on the entire industries. Take a look at this headline. Goldman Sachs recently cut 3,200 staff, okay? And so did many other banks, many other tech companies, and companies in general. Even with this massive layoff, guess what they're doing? They're hiring for their crypto department, okay? Because they want to continue exploring blockchain applications, according to Goldman Sachs. Think about that. After they have laid off a massive amount of people, yet they are still hiring for the crypto department. That is how bullish companies and banks and financial institutions all are about the prospects of Bitcoin, blockchain, decentralization, Web 3.0, wallets, DeFi, everything that I've been talking about for the last few years. It's absolutely amazing. And what's amazing is our current recovery right now. According to Plan B stock to flow, we are definitely recovering according to plan. According to the last two cycles, you could see the bottom was kind of like that deep green, right? We are definitely bouncing off from that bottom point, and next up, we will surpass the next level, which is around $100,000. It's just a matter of time before we break through that, and then it's just a matter of time. Yesterday, I talked about the cycle after that, right? Heading into 2030, that's when Bitcoin will try to break $1 million. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, not if. Okay, and this is the one I used in my thumbnail, but I think this is a pretty clear explanation of what's happening right now. right? When you have Bitcoin on a longer scale, this is the monthly scale, going all the way back to the beginning. When stochastic bottoms out and it crosses over, starts going up, good things happen. And we have these T zones, according to this trader, Terry Grad. Whenever basically you think about these zones, they're basically these wedges. And whenever you break through the trend, right, good things happen, especially on a long-term scale. And why this happens every 4 years is because we have the halving event, which makes Bitcoin even more scarce. Every single halving event makes Bitcoin more scarce. Less is being produced, less is being found, less is being circulated. And it's the only asset we have today that has a finite supply. Nothing else that's considered an investment, really. I take that back. There's, art, paintings, sports cards, maybe. But everything else in terms of commodities or precious metals or equities or bonds or anything else out there, they have an infinite supply versus Bitcoin that has a finite supply, controlled by code, totally decentralized around the world. Not even Satoshi himself could change Bitcoin's code at this point. Think about that, okay? If he came back and he's like, yeah, I'm going to change it, even he does not have the power to do so. It is completely decentralized at this point. The number of addresses with at least one Bitcoin, aka Wholecoiners, right, is nearing 1 million addresses. That doesn't mean there's 1 million Wholecoiners because many people have multiple addresses, but still, that number continues to rise. Slowly but surely, but sometimes it rises a lot. You can see when Bitcoin fell down to about 15,000, so many people were panicking, right? So many people, retail investors, panicking. But what you didn't know was that a lot of those people that didn't panic, that didn't say it's all going to hell, they were buying instead. I mean, it's clear that big U-shape, that uptrend happened when Bitcoin went down to 15,000. That is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to buy when other people are selling, when there's blood in the streets. Even if it's your own blood, that's what you got to do. And that's clearly showing what's happening. But now it's slower, but it's still trending upwards. Becoming a Wholecoiner can one day make you a millionaire just by having one Bitcoin. Think about that.